on the phone, and we're joined by an American officer. She's kindly decided to give us some time just to fill in from that end of the world, the perspective about the things that are happening at the moment and the 2 horrific deaths and all the others. I mean, amongst the others, how do you police that? Good evening and good afternoon to you, Sonia Wiggins-Pruitt.
Hi, Saundra. How are you?
I'm fine. You've got Saundra and Sarah here today.
Hi there.
Yes. Hey, Sarah.
Now, Sonia, I mean, what do you do and how do you manage to do it in light of all the things that happen over there?
Wow, that's a loaded question. So I am what's what we call in the United States a lieutenant. I don't know what level that would be in the UK.
A sergeant.
But my job is as what we call also a deputy district commander. And so what I do is supervise police sergeants who then in turn supervise a group of patrol officers. And then I'm also involved in a lot of other administrative duties and meetings and talking to politicians, the community, that sort of thing.
I think over here you'd be an inspector then. Your rank would be...
really?
Yeah, you'd
I
be...
need to come to the UK.
Your rank, I think your rank would be an inspector, but I'll check that and get back to you.
Okay.
Yep. So how does it feel with the work you're doing to be dealing with these 2 recent deaths and all the others? I mean, apparently 122 deaths by police this year, but along with the thousands that happen out there, we just can't get a handle on how that could keep happening with Black Lives Matters, the black officers like yourself that are fighting against it. How do you manage to work through that?
Well, that's such a difficult question. There's so many aspects to how we have to stay focused and grounded because, first of all, let me just say, Alton Sterling, that's the gentleman who was killed in Louisiana, and then Philando Castile in Minneapolis. That's troubling to us. And it's troubling from the aspect that, yes, we are members of the black community as well as being police officers. We live this dual life.
Right.
And at no time do we want to see any of our brothers or our sisters or our children killed. And so we have a lot of concern about what happened in Louisiana, and there's a lot of unanswered questions, but the way I see it, anytime that anybody dies in the custody of anybody that I supervise or anybody that I work with, then I'm troubled. And then Philando Castile in Minneapolis, that just looks to be totally unjustified. I mean, you can't ask a man to reach for his ID and then shoot him when he reaches for it. That's out of the question.
Yeah, I know.
So what we do is, you want to maintain, I'm sorry for interrupting,
No,
you want to maintain a balance between standing for what's right in our community and also standing for those officers who are not doing wrong. And it's very precarious line to try and balance on.
Right. It's precarious, but also it might be emotionally stressful for you because you are the officers trying to do a good job and bring respect to the profession, and then there are other officers working against that agenda, and at any unknown time something could happen, and things are happening. And we know that's a very vast country. I lived there, so I know living in New York City and travelling the depths and breadths. It's a very vast country. It's not like England where you could say you've got one set of rules you're dealing with per se from Parliament. Each state has their own rules. So
that's correct.
Yeah.
And it looks as though for both of these situations, what might have come into play, or at least especially in the Philando Castile situation, is that these are supposedly open carry states where, and I might be getting the terminology incorrect, but you should be able to have a permit and carry your weapon. And I think, especially in Philando Castile's case, he told the officer that he had a gun, that he had a permit to carry the gun. And so, as a police officer myself, I don't like second guessing other officers, but I could not get out of my head that there were several other ways for me that if it were me, I would have responded to that situation. But of course, I wasn't there.
Right.
Still in all, if you are fearful of a certain group of people, you might want to check yourself.
Right.
Okay, because that kind of fear leads to death, obviously.
Absolutely. Well, thank goodness in this country right now we don't have the guns. Ordinary citizens don't have access to buy a gun, and having a gun is a crime. So for us, apart from police officers very seldomly having guns, I mean, in the police force in our area of 1,100 officers, only 100 are trained and licensed to carry a weapon, a gun, and they would have to have a lot of signing out to get the guns out of the gun cabinet. You can't just go in there and grab a gun. I don't know if the same laws are do they know that over there, do they know who's got the guns? Because or everybody has a gun automatically. I guess every officer's got a gun, so it's harder to control who's going to pull the trigger. You know, it's just crazy.
How do you can get
well, yes, Saundra, everyone does have, all officers here do carry a gun. And that, you know, that's as a result of this, that's the atmosphere in which we live. We live in a country where the Second Amendment, which is our right to bear arms, is prevalent. And our police forces, from the conception of policing in this country, has always been armed. Even though we model ourselves after Sir Francis Peel's model in the UK.
Wow.
So, you know, that's just the nature of business in this country. And yes, every police officer may not just have one gun. They may have more than one gun. They may have a long gun, like a rifle or a shotgun or something. So, yeah, we carry multiple guns.
Wow, that's unfathomable. Can you imagine a place where I guess
yeah, I can't imagine. And I was just thinking, is that the solution to not have guns, and then people, you know, would decrease the crime, or
no? Because the people have got, because citizens can have the guns, the police have got guns.
No, but what if no one, you know, if it was like
it would never get down to that. You've got millions of people in that country, and everybody's got, people have got guns or access to them. So, I mean, Sonia, from where you're sitting right now, is there any viable solution to a police officer going up to a car and killing somebody that's innocent?
That is so painful to hear. So I have a lot of ways that I look at that. First, I think we as American officers, and probably officers all over the world, you know, I know you all have your similar issues, which is how I know you, Saundra, but I think we all could probably stand to take a good look at our biases and see. People think that biases are just race-based, but they are not. They can be race, they can be gender, they can be any number of things. And all of those things, if we don't acknowledge them and put them in check and appropriately handle them, can lead to situations like we've just had over the last few days. Right. Secondly, and I mean, and everybody can stand to take a look at themselves. I'm not just talking about white officers. Right. Secondly, I think that the Black Lives Matter movement is an important one. But what has been disappointing for me is that it's not an all-inclusive one. Maybe there's a reason for that, and it works for the Black Lives Matter movement, but I would love for them to have a dialogue with us as, for instance, the National Black Police Association, because I believe that by combining forces, you can get more done. Right. I mean, who knows better policing than the people who actually do it?
Right.
The third part for me is that, and I don't know whether any of my friends are listening. I hope so, and I know a lot of your audience is listening. But it would be great if we could understand that there's no one way that we can solve this problem. In my opinion, Black Lives Matter is great. I think that some of the important things that we need to do as citizens is vote. Become civically minded, meaning you need to learn civics. You need to learn how the country is run. Right. That way you can change things. That way you can vote. That way you can change the laws. That's where the real power lies. Yeah. We have to become economically sound and viable in our communities. I mean, there's so many pieces to this that we need to add together. It's not just one thing. Right. And as a Black officer, you know, I'm fighting my fights within the department. Mm-hmm. And that means that everybody doesn't think the way I do. And so I have to find a way to get the message over that people don't feel isolated. Because when you're isolated and you feel like you're being yelled at, you don't get the message. You stop listening. So that's the fight that I feel like I fight on the inside for my community. So there's just many, many pieces to this. I mean, it can be as large as you want it to be in terms of creativity. And I think that we need to tap into all of those things.
That's very valid and very well rounded up. What can we do apart from tweeting out with and sharing on Facebook and social media with the Black Lives Matter? I've seen everybody in Britain that I know today saying something about this. They've had enough. They don't know why it can't stop, and they don't know how we can help it to stop. How can anybody from outside of the United States help it to stop?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you know that I'm a delegate on the board of directors of the National Black Police Association.
Yes.
Everybody can come to our website at www.blackpolice.org.
Right.
O-R-G.
Right. I'll put
come through there. Yes, thank you. I appreciate that.
Right.
Give us a phone call. There are so many organizations in the United States that are addressing this issue. The NAACP, for instance, the Urban League, the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Officers, which is made up of executive black officers in the United States, which I'm also a member of. There are plenty of organizations that are trying to do something to help handle this issue. So it's just as easy as doing a Google search, giving me a call, checking out our website,
and so
we could use the help.
Exactly. When we want to help, I mean, it's atrocious. We really want to know how we can send our condolences to the families and to the communities over there. Please convey that people in Britain care what happens to them. I'm not alone in saying this. Yeah, we are feeling it deeply. When you bleed, we bleed, and it's been going on for a long time. And Saundra Glenn was the latest one that we felt more intricately because it was such an unwarranted death. But all of them, all of those deaths matter. They all do. We don't care if someone's a suspect in a crime. You're innocent till proven guilty. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't understand.
And absolutely.
Exactly. So we don't understand how someone can go out, as one lady was saying, and she happened to be a white American. She was saying, how can I can go out for a bag of a snack and get home with the police seeing me, acknowledging that they've seen me, and I get home safe. A black person can go out for a snack and end up killed for just going out to get a snack. And she said it's not okay. But people were actually slating her on Facebook for standing up as a white woman to have a go. And I said, well, if people can't understand that it's going to take, like the end of slavery, it took a multi-pronged approach from all the communities, not just the black community, before slavery ended.
Yes.
Yeah. If we don't accept the help from all the masses that care, we're not going to end this thing. Yeah.
Yep. All of the stakeholders. You are absolutely right.
Exactly. So I'm just hoping that people can see and get their head around it, that they're not the enemy. Not everybody who's white is the enemy. We've got to work as a collective effort to end these atrocities because they're not right. Nobody should have to live through this. Children should not see their parents being murdered in front of them by a protecting officer. You're there to serve and protect, not to serve and kill. Yeah? And we need to find a different way of doing this. And honestly, we have the National Black Police Association here in Britain. Somebody was saying, has your organisation come out with a statement today, Sonia? The National Black Police.
Actually, we're coming out with a statement later on this evening.
Okay.
We've been fielding a lot of phone calls here, and people are understandably upset and want to know what we are doing. So, our conference is in Baltimore at the end of the month. And I'm sure that this will be like at the top of the list of conversations that we're going to be having.
Right. Well, the National Black Police, I'm in touch with them here. We know lots of senior officers here. We're going to get in touch with them and send them statements from our communities and say that we want them to get behind the support to your organisation to get this matter heard. Something has to be done.
Yes.
If a bit of pressure from everywhere can help people, anybody listen to this, if you can send something into www.blackpolice.org to say that you're in solidarity with the sentiment of the atrocities having to stop now, then send something in. Don't just sit there as an armchair critic. Do something. It's going to take a lot of doing to get this done. Yeah, and they need our help. Go out there, be safe, Sonia. Be safe on the beat. Be safe in your job. Be safe in your leadership, and know that we care what happens to you. Yeah.
Thank you, Saundra, and it's been such a pleasure talking to you, and I hope to see you again soon.
I hope so. But another Black MBA conference or something in happier times.
Yes.
But in the meantime, please just listen to us and be safe on the job. It's a two-way street.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
It's been good talking
All right, have
to
a
you.
good one.
Wow, that was talking to Sonia Wiggins-Pruitt. She's a lieutenant over there in the police force in America. And yeah, she gave us and she's also on the board, of the leadership board of the National Black Police over there. And you heard her say the steps to which people can help. And she would like people to write into the National Black Police. You could also write into our National Black Police organisation in the UK and get them to also lobby the calls from this end, letting them know that sitting here and hearing the news isn't enough. We want it to stop. We're coming up to break. I'm going to play out a song before the break so that we can just calm down and reflect. And it's a lot to take on. It's a lot to take on. And yeah, how are you feeling? Do you want to get hold of us and share? We'd love to hear from you. What has the recent deaths meant to you? Is it far too much? One too many? More too many? I mean, really, just what does it mean to you? We're going to play a song for Celia. This is for Sonia Wiggins-Pruitt.